and easily. And that tool is called Google Forms. Some of you may may be familiar with this already. Uh, the way you access it is essentially go to Documents in your on your mail page. When the Documents page comes up, you go to the Create New option where you have a variety of types of Google Docs that you can create. We're going to go right to Form. And as you see, you have a very intuitive page come up. It's asked you to basically title your form. And I'm going to call this particular form an economic indicator quiz. This would be a type of quiz that I might give my students prior to the beginning of a unit on macroeconomic theory, with particular emphasis on economic indicators. So my first question is a very typical one, is please type your last name first followed by your first name. And the reason I'm asking for this basic information is the information that is generated from the form is captured in a spreadsheet, so it'll be very easy to associate the answers with a particular student's name. So I'm done with that particular question, and I'm now going to add a second question by coming up here to the Add Item. And I have a variety of options of types of questions that I can use, but I'm going to go with a tried and true multiple choice option, and I will begin typing my first content related question, which is the stock market a leading, lagging, or coincident indicator? Yeah, this would be a typical kind of question that I would expect my students to answer after they've gone through a particular unit on economic indicators. I'm giving them a couple of different options which relate to the question: leading, lagging, coincident, and then the tried and true, none of the above. I'm going to make this a required question, and I'm going to click Done, and there's my first question. Now I'm going to add a second question. Again, this is going to be a multiple choice question, which is going to be similar in form, except that this is going to be related to the unemployment rate and whether the unemployment rate is a leading, lagging, or coincident economic indicator. Some of you familiar with the form options know that if you do have similar types of questions, you can duplicate those questions so you can minimize the amount of retyping that you have to do. But for demonstration purposes, I'm going to follow a traditional input method. Okay, very similar to the other question, I'm going to make this a required question, and I'm done. However, I'm gonna vary this a little bit now, and I'm going to ask the student to answer in a more detailed fashion by creating a traditional essay question. And this particular essay question is going to be related to the term quantitative easing, which has been the term du jour in the news as a result of Ben Bernanke's, our current Fed chairman's strategy that he's been following recently to accelerate the economy. So I'm done with that particular question, and I'm done with my quiz at this point. Now I have a variety of options available to me. I have an opportunity to actually email this quiz to my students. I could paste in their email addresses, and they would actually get this particular form in their email, and they could actually take the quiz once they open up their email. However, I'm going to give you an example of a couple fictitious students here and show you how the data is actually collected on the spreadsheet. So we're going to put in John Smith as the first student to take this particular quiz, and he's going to answer the first question as lagging. He's going to say leading here, and he's not going to be real detailed in his essay response, but he will submit the information at that point. And after the student submits, it says, "Thanks, your response has been recorded." But let's put some information in for another student as well. And this is going to be Bill Brown. And Bill is going to basically going to answer the question coincident on the first question and leading on the second, and he's also going to be a blah here. Okay, we're going to submit his information. The next one is going to be Joe Patel. And basically, he is going to answer coincident, and he's going to answer none of the above, and he's also going to basically say blah. Okay, and then we're going to go back to the form one more time, and we're going to put in Betty White. And Betty is going to answer none of the above and none of the above and blah again. Let's just say blah, blah, blah. Okay, and we're going to submit, and we're going to go back to the form, and we're going to enter Sue Burns. And Sue is basically going to go with none of the above and none of the above and with the blah response. So that is now into our spreadsheet. If we were to go to our documents at this point and look at our spreadsheet, this is again for example purposes, you'll see the student's information has been put in. We have a couple of different options here. For instance, if we wanted to quickly sort our particular student, we could, basically put them in alphabetical order very quickly. If we wanted to essentially see the responses to see how much knowledge they have, you could show a particular graph or picture of the data and how the students answered. So that's a quick overview of how a quiz could be quickly created. There's obviously much more depth here than we can show, but I wanted to give you an indicator of the power of this particular tool.